Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected Chair, my dear friend Mr. Ashok Kumar Vishwas, Additional Secretary and DZ Director General, DT, and distinguished resource person from home and abroad, facilitator, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all in my presentation on TVET for safe migration. This is Sherin Reza, Director General Bureau of Manpower Employment and Training. I would like to introduce my department, that is BMET, Bureau of Manpower Employment and Training, under the Ministry of Expected Welfare and Overseas Employment. We have 10 million people working outside in the 160 countries, 62 countries across the world. That's why our government has created a new ministry, a very specialized ministry, that is Ministry of Expected Welfare and Overseas Employment, to look after these 10 million people who are working outside. And under this ministry, my department, that is BMET, its main responsibility of the BMET to look after the migration management of the country and skill development and look after the welfare of the expected Bangladeshis. And BMET is one of the oldest and major TVET provider government organization in the country. This is nutshell in the BMET's responsibility, and I am the Director General of this organization. And what is migration? You all know migration is a movement of individual or a group of people from one place to another. Why people is migrating? People is migrating for business, for education, for job, but sometimes people migrated were compelled to migrate for war, for natural calamities, or any disasters. That's why migration is a very big phenomenon. Not only for Bangladesh, it is all over the country. Let me see the next slide, that is overseas employment. Overseas employment is very important for Bangladesh. I mentioned it before, that our 10 million people are working outside in 162 countries across the world. Why overseas employment is very important for Bangladesh? You see, the 2 million young people every year, they are coming into labor market in Bangladesh. Bangladesh economy is growing. It is in the take-off position. But still, we are not in a position to arrange this 2 million job. 2 million job opportunities we cannot create inside the country. That's why we look job for them in overseas. And their remittance is a very significant contribution for our economy. And the Bangladesh is one of the major manpower sending countries in the world. Last year, 2016, we have sent 0.75 billion for country to abroad. This year, we have the plan for sending 1 million people out for overseas jobs. Officially, we have started sending manpower in 1976. You see the statistics for this year. Already we have sent 571,000 Bangladeshis for overseas jobs. But this year we have planned for 1 million. And this is the district-wise employment scenario. It is for the, especially for those who are Bangladeshi participants, they can see their district status. Though most of the migration takes place from the Kumilla, Sylhet and Noakhali region. The people from North Bengal, very less people are going abroad from the North Bengal. And this is the versus employment in the women. In the nowadays, the women migration is increasingly, significantly increased. The last year, we have sent more than 100,000 female abroad. This year also maybe more than 100,000 female migration will take place. Then our government initiative for streamlining the overseas employment process, online registration, we have a very big database and we have the network from all over the country. Then people, those who are interested to going abroad, they register their name online and it will automatically come to our central database in our head office. And compulsory fingerprint, we also take the fingerprint, online visa checking. You see, some of the country we have the arrangement to check the visa online. And introduce smart card, it is a very big innovation. Each and every worker, when they are going abroad, we will provide them a smart card during the immigration clearance. And in this smart card, every individual with this smart card contain all the information. And this, we have enacted a new law, that is Overseas Employment and Migration Act, and recruitment, G2G recruitment process, establishment of more technical training center. Bank, I mentioned it before, the overseas employment is very significant for Bangladesh economy. That's why we established a specialized bank for them. That is Provasi Kalyan Expatriate Welfare Bank, specialized bank for the expatriate. And decentralization by the BMET, all the service related to the overseas employment, previously it was centralized in Dhaka. For the betterment of the people, we decentralized it to up to the district level. Now they are getting these services at their doorstep, that is district level. Now this is the innovation. We have 26 innovations by the BMET. The main innovation, this is decentralization, then online visa checking, then online examination, then also the housekeeping training, opening of e-learning platform, e-monitoring. This is the innovation we made by the BMET. Now the achievement in 2017, I mentioned it before, that this year we have planned to send 1 million workers to the overseas job. Then skill category. In last year we have sent 42% skilled worker and semi-skilled 60% and less skilled 41% and 1% professional. So we have a long way to go, because we would like to send more skilled workers to our destination country. Now overseas employment and skill migration and versus unskilled migration. Here why the TVET is important for this overseas employment, for the migration. If we send more skilled workers, then what happens? Benefits of skill migration. That is the benefit of the TVET. If we send more skilled workers, then higher wages, better remittances, opportunity for technology transfer, less problem, decent work, non-involvement in 3D jobs, more easy reintegration. Rights and privileges are protected, ensure safe migration. If we send more skilled workers, then definitely we will ensure the safe migration. In the opposite scenario, if we send unskilled workers, that's why Bangladesh government has taken many initiatives for skill development. How much time? 5 minutes more? Okay. Then if the unskilled people, we send the unskilled people, then low wages, marginal remittances, it is the opposite. It is the opposite scenario. That's why government has taken many initiatives for skill development. The two mega projects are conducting for skill development training. That is, one is run by the STEP project, is run by the Education Ministry, and another project is SEP, is run by the Finance Ministry. And both the projects are working for the skill development, and my organization are working with them very closely in the skill development area. How to ensure safe migration? How we ensure the safe migration? That is, more skilled worker. We will send more skilled worker, appropriate pre-departure training, upskilling of the potential migrants, proper matching with job requirement, awareness campaign through electronics and print media, and ensure the rules and regulations and implementation, smooth implementation of the rules and regulations. This is the overseas employment from 2012 to 2016. This is the training provided by the BMET. The pre-departure training provided by the BMET. Now, we did not allow anybody to go for overseas job without having any training. So pre-departure training is a compulsory by the government for every worker. BMET's function, I mentioned it before. Office under BMET, we have 70 technical training centers across the country, and 3 apprenticeship training offices, and 42 district employment and manpower office. In DM, we call it DMO. And this is some special arrangement for doing the foreign employer. And Singapore, we have training in the construction trade. We raise the people as per the requirement of the Singapore, as per their curriculum. We raise the people. After the training, if they will qualify at the Singapore standard, up to the Singapore standard, then we send them Singapore. And we have the same arrangement with the Hong Kong. As per their requirement and as per their curriculum, we raise people here in our TTC, then we send them Hong Kong. And we have the same arrangement with the KSA. Now, human resource development, those who are working with the BMET, we have taken a lot of training program for them for both home and abroad. And this is the training in the Guangzhou Industry, Trade and Technical College. We are sending our TTC's instructor for higher training to the Guangzhou Industry and Trade Technical College with the help of a STEP project. And you see the Mr. Ashok Kumar Vishwas and the principal of the Guangzhou Industry College, where they are signing the MU for the training. And we are grateful to the TVET, to the STEP project and also the Director General, Director of Technical Education, and the Ministry of Education for creating this opportunity for our instructor for higher training. And the skill development training, and the last year we trained 567,279 workers. This year we have planned about 600,000 workers we will train. And public-private partnership with the foreign employer, we are planning to join venture with the ELG and Samsung and South Korea.
Respected President, I draw your kind attention. Actually, as we are around 30 minutes late, so I request to complete it in 2 minutes.
Okay, it will complete, but we have the arrangement with the certification, international certification by the CTN Guilds and Career Australia, then other Cafe Australia, and Artwell with the KSA. Now, BMET goal and vision 2020-2021. We would like to be a fully digitally service-oriented, one of the best organizations. We want to establish BMET as one of the best organizations in the country with international standard, and branding the TTC as the best training provider in the country with global standard. And some recommendation we have, that is reducing migration cost, and skill training program should be designed in accordance with the overseas demand, and these are the recommendations we have. And my time is over, I think. Now thank you very much everybody for your kind attention, and thank you all. And okay, we'll see you in the question and answer session. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. A very good afternoon to the chair, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a topic area that's really of interest to me, because I've been fortunate enough to have experienced a number of education systems throughout my own study and my own career. But before I got started with the slides, I thought I should just share with you my own experience of being a migrant. I'm a migrant myself, and I like to think of myself as a global citizen. The past few days at the conference, I have been asked about where I'm from. So when I tell them that, if I tell people that I'm from Australia and I'm Australian, they're like, yeah, but where are you really from? And then you tell them that, look, I'm originally from Malaysia, and then I moved to Australia and I became Australian. And it's like, they still look perplexed. They're like, where are you really from? I was like, well, before I was in Malaysia, my great-grandparents moved from Jaffna in Sri Lanka. I was like, oh yeah, you're Sri Lankan. So, and that's the thing, I mean, like, migration is something so common. Everyone's sort of moving around. That's the global economy as well. And I think it's really important that in that context of global economy, that there needs to be a framework that actually helps us to help this global mobility, to have a framework that actually mutually recognizes the qualifications that are offered in different countries. So my own background, I was born and I was raised in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. I studied there, and then I moved to the UK. I did my first degree in Malaysia, and I moved to the UK to do my master's at the Imperial College of London. I moved back to Malaysia to work for a while, and then I returned to the UK and got my PhD at the University of Oxford. I went back to Malaysia and worked, and then I finally moved to Australia. I took up a job as a lecturer and a senior lecturer at a university there, and then I moved to VET. And that was a very conscious decision for me. I had been in higher education, I'd been doing research and so on, but I took a very conscious decision to move to VET because I love the fact that it was very applied in nature and you were training for a job, and that was something that was really important to me. As a university lecturer, I was teaching things like Fourier transform, set transform, and so on. And a student actually asked me, why are you teaching us all this? Are we going to use this in the workplace? And that really struck me, and really stuck in my mind. And which is why I made a conscious decision to move to VET. And I'm happy with that decision. So that's a bit of a background of how I ended up here giving this presentation here in Dhaka. So that's my presentation. To just give you a brief background of the national qualifications frameworks. So you've probably heard in a number of We've heard a number of slides, so a number of presentations for national qualifications frameworks. I've heard the Australian qualifications framework quoted quite a number of times, so I'm assuming that many of you have actually, know what the Australian qualifications framework is. So that's an example of that. And now you notice that countries are actually moving towards mutual recognition of qualifications through transnational frameworks. The European Union has done a really good job of that, and ASEAN is also in the midst of getting together to get that done as well. Now for countries of the European Union, just because of the 4 freedoms in the European Union, the freedom of movement of goods, capital, services and people, there's actually a necessity to actually recognize the qualifications offered in different countries, and they are just so varied. So it was a difficult task, it was a very complicated task, but they've done a good job of it, and you find that a lot of countries are now sort of looking at the European Union framework as well in order to come up with their own transnational frameworks, like ASEAN, for example. So that's what, that's a summary of the framework that we have in Australia. And it's a combination of higher ed and also TVET qualifications as well. So you have, I'm not sure you can see that very clearly, but it starts off at level 1 and it continues all the way to level 10. And you find this across the national qualifications frameworks as well. It usually starts off with vocational and then it builds up into higher ed with a bit of an overlap. So here you have levels 5 and 6 and level 8, you've actually got a bit of overlaps as well between the vocational and higher ed qualifications. In Australia, we have 2 regulatory bodies that oversee our qualifications. For the higher ed qualifications, we have the Tertiary Education Quality and Standards Agency, or TEQSA. They look after the higher ed qualifications. And for the vocational or the TVET qualifications, we have the Australian Skills Quality Authority, or ASQA. So those are the qualifications, and you notice that if you look at the summary there, you actually have higher ed and TVET diplomas. And at level 6, you've got an associate degree, which is a higher ed program, but you've also got a level 6 TVET advanced diploma as well. And then it moves on to higher ed qualifications as well. So that's what the Australian qualifications framework looks like. It's a combination of both vocational and higher ed as well. So why a global qualifications framework? There's a lot of initiatives already being undertaken. We've got transnational frameworks as well. But I think it's really important for someone who does a Cert 4 in plumbing in Australia, for example. How is that recognized in Bangladesh, for example? If you wanted to come to Bangladesh and you wanted to go to the UK. So there needs to be a way to actually mutually recognize these qualifications in a global context. So it serves as a bridge between various national qualification frameworks around the world. It facilitates free movement of labor within economic regions, and that's especially so with the European Union, but more and more with ASEAN as well. And it also promotes a higher quality qualifications framework because you've got a global benchmark to work towards. So that's really important as well. So when you have a global benchmark to work towards, you aspire to that as well. So you've got a standard that's been adopted across different countries. That's it's been produced as a benchmark, and you've got countries that are actually able to work and aspire to meeting the benchmark qualities. So what are some of the challenges in producing this global framework? One is the diversity in education and training systems in different countries. An example of that is in Africa. So in Africa, due to history, formulating a qualifications framework is challenging because it is influenced both by the Anglo-Saxon qualifications framework and also the French qualifications framework, depending on the country. So there are challenges in that the education systems in different countries are different. Some national qualification frameworks overly focus on higher ed qualifications, and in fact that's how it started off in the UK. So in the UK in 2001, they started off with the Higher Education Qualification Framework, the HEQ. The UK now has a regulated qualifications framework, an RQF, that incorporates both the higher ed and VET qualifications. So you find that countries doing slightly differently. Bangladesh, for example, from the presentations I've seen, they've actually got a VET framework already. And countries like Singapore, for example, they've got a VET framework as well. And now it's basically coming up with a national framework. Different countries are at different stages of developing their NQFs as well, and that is one of the challenges in ASEAN, because in ASEAN you've got countries that already, to a certain extent, have a rough idea of what a national qualifications framework should look like. An example of that is Malaysia. And you've got other countries that are still developing and thinking about how they approach national qualifications frameworks like Myanmar and Vietnam. Another issue is the consensus on a framework which includes both higher ed and TVET qualifications. How do those qualifications interrelate between one another? And that's one of the challenges in trying to create a transnational or even a global framework. So a case study is the European qualifications framework, and now that's considered one of the most well-developed frameworks, transnational frameworks in the world currently, and that's sort of looked at as a benchmark transnational framework. There are 8 levels in the transnational framework in the EQF, and they cover both higher ed and also TVET qualifications. And by April 2017, 32 countries had actually mapped their qualifications frameworks to the EQF. Now, pilot studies are underway to compare the EQF with non-European national qualifications frameworks, like Australia's qualification framework, New Zealand's one, and also Hong Kong's qualifications framework as well. So you find that that's not being used as a benchmark to actually work towards. ASEAN is looking at the EQF to help it in coming up with a transnational framework, but you've also got national frameworks that are trying to align themselves and trying to map out against how their frameworks compare to the EQF. So that's what the European. So you find that there are actually qualifications, TVET qualifications across all levels until level 8 as well. Level 4, you've got the VET diploma that's offered by Malta, for example. At level 5, you've got the High National Certificate and Diploma that's offered by the UK. At level 6, you've got the Master Craftsman in Germany, operating IT professional certified in Germany. And in level 7, you've actually got qualifications at level 7 as well. The Senior Detective in the Czech Republic is considered a level 7 TVET qualification. And the Chartered Engineer in Estonia and Chartered Architect in Estonia is considered level 8 qualifications as well. So I guess the perception that the TVET qualifications are lower level qualifications at the lower level is not necessarily true. It really depends on which countries you look at. And you can find here in the European countries, especially with the EQF being considered, you've actually got TVET qualifications all the way until level 8. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, is also trying to come up with this framework. It is still in development, but there has been significant progress. The countries have met together. I think they most recently met in Kuala Lumpur as well. And it is to encourage the free flow of skilled labor and to establish national skills frameworks. Countries are at different stages of developing their own NQFs, so until the countries actually have their own NQFs developed, it's a bit more difficult to progress with QRF for the ASEAN region. So in conclusion, so one of the main benefits of a global system of qualifications recognition is international labor mobility. What we want is to be able for someone to train in, whether it's Bangladesh or whether it's the United Kingdom, Australia, to be able to train there and then to be able to go anywhere around the world and also have their qualifications recognized. There are different levels of progress in the development of national qualifications frameworks amongst countries. Australia, for example, has a well-established qualifications framework, and other countries are either in the process or have well-established frameworks themselves. And there are also now regional transnational frameworks that are already in place, like the EQRF and the AQRF. These are definitely steps in the right direction. They're already well-established, especially the EQF, and that's now proving to be, that's now sort of being used as almost an international benchmark of what a transnational framework should look like. One of the things that I've noticed in my research, in my reading of the literature, is that professional qualifications, like a chartered engineer in the UK, for example, or an incorporated engineer in the UK, or a chartered professional engineer in Australia, those aren't currently included in qualifications framework. And I guess that's how we start moving to. We keep talking about higher ed, we keep talking about VET, but I think as we sort of mature and progress, I think we sort of move towards a situation where we've also got, we find a way to actually incorporate those professional qualifications into the framework as well. So it's really exciting. There's a lot of progress in this, and it's really exciting to see some of the progress that's already been made in trying to come up with a global qualifications framework. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Shashi, for your excellent presentation. Now, the presentation title is Mapping Skills Qualification and a Universal Qualification Framework. Presenter Mr. H.B. Dairatne, Head of Operations, SCI Campus, Lanka Private Limited, Sri Lanka. Now may I request H.B. Dairatne to present his paper.
Assalamualaikum, Namaste, Icon, good evening. I'm Dairatne, a human from Sri Lanka, electronics and telecommunication engineering by profession. The session champs Ashok Kumar Viswas, Additional Secretary here NMD and DET Education. The facilitator Dr. Engineer Chakpatali, Principal DKT Sidaka, distinguished resource person on the table, ladies and gentlemen. We have been witnessing very informative and interesting presentations by experts on the topics of skill shortage, global competitiveness, entrepreneurs' skills, quality assurance of TVET institutions through APAC accreditation, integrated curriculum, training of uncovering the gap between skills providers and industries, bridging the skills mismatch to global competitiveness, and more importantly, a comparative study of qualification frameworks in TVET of Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Philippines, and Australia for global competitiveness. So having witnessed this, I have nothing to say, because I am also going to propose the universal or global framework which Dr. Shashi has also done. But I thought of just switching from the normal way and building my argument case. I do not want to use any statistics for the simple reason that statistics is like a mini skirt. It shows a lot of things but hides the most important facts. So with your permission, let me begin with some archaeological facts from Sri Lanka. Remains of ancient engineering works show that ancient Sri Lankans had engineering skills very advanced for their times, related to irrigation and water management, architecture and structural engineering, as well as materials and metallurgy. Remains of large irrigation works with reservoirs, dams, embankments and channels, mega structures, stupas, monasteries and palaces, rock fortresses and pleasure gardens, as well as weapons and appliances are enough to justify this. Those who have visited Sri Lanka have witnessed most of these things. Having been an agricultural country, ancient Sri Lankans have demonstrated superior skills in irrigation and water resource development since about 300 BC. The largest of the tanks, which was built in the period of 1153 to 1183 AD, covers a water spread area of 2100 hectares, has an embankment of 14 kilometers, having an average height of 12 meters. So, issue of water from the large reservoir, which had water depth in excess of 10 meters, was a difficult task. So, this problem was overcome by ancient Sri Lankans with an engineer's creation called the Visokotua, built near the point where the water level meets the inner structure. That is what you can see from the screen. Sluice gates regulated the water inflow and outflow. So H. Parker's book titled Ancient Ceylon states that whatever form the design took, it was a triumph of the ingenuity of the ancient Sinhalese or Sri Lankan engineers. It was this invention alone which permitted them to proceed boldly with the construction of reservoirs that still rank among the finest and the greatest works of this kind in the world. Thus, the ancient Sri Lankans were the inventors of this well pit more than 2000 years before it was used in the West in the 19th century. To convey the diverted water from the river to the reservoir, from one reservoir to another, there was a problem. So once first canal conveying water from one reservoir to another is 91 kilometers long and 12 meters wide. The canal feeds a number of small tanks on the way, and over its first 30 kilometers, the canal has a gradient of 1 in 10,000. That is 6 inches to a mile. An accuracy very difficult to achieve even today with the latest technology. So there are many stupas built by different rulers of Sri Lanka, the kings, dating from the 2nd century BC. So ancient Sri Lankans showed many skills in constructing these mega structures. The bricks used were of very high quality and much stronger than the modern day bricks. The structure was waterproofed by a thick plaster. Foundations were essentially with reinforced concrete, foundation and dam and insect proof. A device called water tuber, what you can see at the top of this tuber, fixed at the top of the stupa, was to prevent damage to the pinnacle by lightning. And no stupa in Sri Lanka has got any effect, any damage from lightning so far. So this is 15 centuries before Benjamin Franklin studied lightning in the West. Sri Lanka didn't invent the electric bulb or the telephone. They didn't invent the microprocessor. But the examples that I have just mentioned is an ample proof to gauge the skills Sri Lankans had within themselves for years. So Sri Lanka is a country full of resources, human resources, the best mineral sand in the world, gems, you name it, we have it except uranium and gold and oil. Now similarly, if we take the countries in our region, we do have resources. But in the presentation in the afternoon I heard that Bangladesh had nothing. But how do you say that? So we have the biggest resource available, the human resource. And nobody can tell it. If you look at the population in the Asian countries, the SAARC region, nobody can challenge that number. So in this region we do possess the best human talents. So similarly, countries in this region with their bountiful riches, not to mention the high caliber professionals from almost every field, are a resource that has the potential to propel the countries forward. Yet, we are labeled as developing countries. Why? Now, even when I am talking, the world is evolving technologically. The advances happen so quickly that today's trendsetter is tomorrow's redundancy. So nations who are in step with this exponential advancement find themselves reaping the riches, while others rely on their mercy. So the need to upgrade the knowledge of the existing workforce on a regular basis, in addition to training the younger generation leaving schools, is a challenge to many governments, many countries. So though the governments are taking the maximum efforts to address this issue, to achieve these objectives, yet the demand from the industry is not even nearly achieved. And that is why we have many private organizations who came up to train the school leavers and award many diverse qualifications, diplomas, certificates, licenses, etc. But the availability of these courses from different entities lead us to discuss the following points. Number one is whether all these qualifications have the right purpose, whether they have the right coverage, are they of the right type, do they have the right expected outcome and the right quality. Number two, industry and employers face dilemma of identifying the standard and suitability of the applicants based on qualifications they possess. They come with a diploma certificate, and how can the industry evaluate his skills or knowledge? Number three, how to address the increasing tendency of skilled and qualified workers looking for overseas employment. Number four, how to address each country's desire to be in the forefront. So if I take you back to Sri Lanka, we do have 3 ministries to look after education. First one for the primary and secondary, that is from grade 1 to grade 13. Another ministry for vocational and tertiary education. Another ministry for higher education. So 3 ministers, 3 state ministers and deputy ministers. So without having a national policy on education, the regular reshuffling of ministers and change of the agendas by the ministers themselves, and the objectives and the nature of different donor agencies coming in, we can imagine what the situation will be. So creation of educational entities to offer similar but not the same qualifications, uneven distribution of resources, and the competition it creates among those entities have a direct impact on the outcome of the learners graduating from those entities. So having different qualification frameworks in one country adds fuel to fire. The existence of number of qualifications and different learning outcomes leads to push the employer into difficulty of identifying the right candidate to fill their vacancies. So with the increasing cost of living but without adjustments to their salaries, especially in our region, workers are looking for overseas employment. So having obtained a qualification from one country does not guarantee you an appropriate and relevant job in another country, because they do have a different framework of qualifications. So what I would suggest to minimize these impacts is to establish basically a universal qualification framework which is very far. But as what's going on right now, we can think of a regional qualification framework. So as you know, so each country has its own qualification framework, probably formulated identifying the requirements of the government and demands from the industry. But if we try to introduce a new framework right now, we are in trouble. The reason is that there are a number of courses and number of levels. For example, if I take the city and English qualification from UK, because I am familiar with that, they have specified the qualification in a very clear manner. For example, if you take the level 4 in civil engineering, it says of unit 439 applied mathematics civil engineering, unit level 4, gross learning hours 60, notional learning hours 150, and they have then the assessment method, where to obtain the assessment materials, etc. Everything is very clearly defined. Now, what I propose is a three-dimensional matrix for the framework. On the vertical axis, let's say for example, we take the learning outcome or the contents or the depth of the contents of the curriculum. And on the horizontal axis, let's say we take whether the course is full-time or part-time, or what's the duration of the course. And on the perpendicular one, we can say the competencies, the skills acquired and the experience the learners gain. So with that, we will have a three-dimensional matrix like that, having a number of nodes. So my suggestion is now treat each node as a qualification level. So there will be three numbers to specify that node. Let's say if we call node as n, so we can have n 1, 2, 1. So which has height of 1, horizontal distance of 2, and vertical distance of 1. Each number represents the depth of the content, the duration of the course, and the competencies. So this is just an example. So if I demonstrate this in a two-dimensional way for the sake of explaining, so let's say we have certificates, diplomas and higher diplomas at 5 levels. So each node is a particular qualification. Now, when you take an available qualification right now in a country, it might not fall on a node. It might, or probably it might fall outside the node. So we can identify the way of moving node, the existing one, into the node of the framework. So it can be by learning something extra, by giving more assessments, or by giving in-class training. So that can be decided. So you need to identify how we move that particular qualification into the proper node that we have defined. So this can be applied to a three-dimensional one. So once we do that, if we can do this, it doesn't matter which country you get the qualification, that is correct enough to a node on this. The problem is, since we have so many courses right now, there has to be somebody, there has to be a commission, authority or entity which evaluates all the courses, identify the gaps and fill it. It might take time, but personally I believe that if we can implement this, there may be a solution to this problem and we can make it universal one day.
Thank you very much, for your nice presentation. Now may I request S.M. Shahjahan, Deputy Director, Course Accreditation, Bangladesh Technical Education Board, PTEB. His presentation title, Future Challenge for Implementing National Technical and Vocational Qualification Framework in Bangladesh.
Good afternoon, respected Chair, distinguished President of the dais, and respected guest, women and group. Today, my presentation is Future Challenge of Implementing National Technical Vocational Qualification Framework in Bangladesh. The area of talking point today, what is NTVET and why NTVET, levels of NTVET, and activities of PTEB to implement NTVET, some challenges and some recommendations. What is NTVET? Set of principles and guidelines by which records of learners' achievement are registered to qualify national recognition of acquired skills and knowledge. Describe the competencies required to do a job at various levels. Considering these things, Government Peoples of Republic of Bangladesh approved National Skill Development Policy 2011. At the same time, National Technical Vocational Qualification Framework (NTVET) developed and implemented. In line with need of accelerated skill development, the country approved the NSD 2011 with 14 key functions of planning and implementation of NTVET. BTV has 5 functions with support from NSDC Secretariat. NTVET standard is one of the 5 key functions for which the BTV has been entrusted with the responsibility for implementation. In the section 11.5 of the 7th 5-year plan, addressing the skill constant to job acceleration, recommended that the NSDC secretaries will ensure the BTV receives the necessary technical support and has adequate manpower and resources to fulfill the expanded roles of NTVET implementation. Levels of NTVET, we have 6 level NTVET level 1 and 2 and another pre-vocational 1 and 2 with classifications. The level 1 is basic workers, level 2 basic skill workers, level 3 semi-skill workers, level 4 skill workers, and level 5 highly skilled workers and supervisors, and level 6 mid-level manager and service manager like this. Activities of BTEB for implementing the NTVET in Bangladesh. Bangladesh Technical Education Board is empowered by the government to recognize, supervise, regulate, control and develop technical vocational education and training, including the newly introduced NTVET in Bangladesh. BTEB development of the national skill qualification system, development of qualification standards for teachers and trainers, development of competency standards of different occupations, development of course accreditation document for different occupations under NTVET, preparation competency-based learning materials according to the unit of competency of different occupations, establishment of NTVET cell in BTEB with professionals, development of information management system for registration and result processing of NTVET programs, development of the NTVET implementation manual, preparation of the RPD implementation guideline for assessment. BTEB assesses the certifies industry assessors, teachers and trainers. BTEB provides approval to the registered training organization as RTOs to run the NTPQF courses, assesses and certifies the level of skill and assess through recognition of prior learning RPL process for particular occupations and competency standard approved by the BTB under the NTPQF. BTB has approved competency standard and section document in the different occupations that are 12 industry sector of economy. At this moment, we have 12 industry skill council in the industry sectors. The implementation of the NTPQF depends upon 13 other functions of NSDP. In spite of this capacity constant of the stakeholders, the BTB has made reasonably good achievement with the support from the NSD Secretariat, ISC, TVET providers presented in the next slide. Present status of certification of NTPQF in Bangladesh up to June 2017, industry assessors 687, teachers and trainers certified 216, graduate through RTO 6,036, and graduate RPL 14,949, including 23,222 graduates already certified in the 27 occupations and up to level 3. And also we issued some statement of achievement around 9,300 workers to issue a statement of achievement to achieve their respective skills. Challenge of implementation of NTPQF, we have some challenges. Develop linkage and cooperation between BTB and ISCs, strengthen capacity of ISC, NSDC, BTB and training providers. Develop occupation-wise industry assessors for effective implementation of CPTA programs. Skill and pedagogical training for teachers for public and private TVET institutions on CPTA programs to implement NTPQF. Strengthen capacity of TVET institutions in terms of infrastructure, tools, equipment, and to act as RDO and assessment centers. Teachers training and certification for CPTA program. Placement of certified trainees to industries. Establish and strengthen linkage between industries and institutions. Develop skill data system at NSDC Secretariat and certified workers data based at BTM. Strategies, funding for skill development and search for new fundings, fund for teachers for getting industrial experience. This is the challenge at this moment. We have some recommendation. Bangladesh qualification framework need to be developed. Recruitment policy for industry to be formulated, revised to incorporate NTPQF graduates. Initiative should be taken to work all development projects in line with NSDP. Programs should be taken to make institutes sustainable for conducting CBTA programs. Funds should provide to strengthen capacity of TVET institutions. Supporting measurements should be taken to building capacity of stakeholders to implement NSDP. International recognition of NTPQF need to be collected. This is the recommendation for my side. Thank you for patient hearing. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Shurahan. Already he has completed his presentation within a very short time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, question and answer session. May I request all of the audience to raise their specific question, and the question will go to the specific presenter. First of all, you will introduce yourself and raise your question to a specific presenter. And the honorable presenter will note down the question. And after having the question, we will go for the answer session. Thank you. Okay.
I draw all your very kind attention, please. Our presentation is completed by this time. Now, if any question to Dr. Selly, Mr. Selly, he will write down. If any, directly write down. And then after raising all the questions, the reply will be thrown to all of you. That is I think that is better. Thank you all.
I am Kharga Kesi, former President of Diploma Engineers SN Nepal Team and Advisor, and former Chairman SAG Diploma Engineers SN STF and Advisor. This question goes to Dr. Engineer Shaukat Ali. Bangladeshi, a very large number, are migrating overseas as skilled and non-skilled migrating. As we know, unskilled migration are very unsafe and dangerous. That what would be the role of government of Bangladesh to control and protect them? Thank you.
I have basically question to both you gentlemen, because you have the same perspective of NVQF and National Qualification Frameworks. My question is that has there been any qualification framework established in any part or any place where it gives a student to move around between or mobility between general education and TVET education? Because I don't think so. I haven't seen anything of such proper qualification framework which allows a person to easily move from general education to TVET education after getting equivalencies, and from TVET education back again to general education. But yes, I have seen that there are levels made in the TVET education, similarly general education, but I didn't see any mapping between the two. Kindly, if you have any, please let me know. Thank you.
My question to Dr. Selim Raja sir. I cannot understand the 3D job. I want to have the 3D job. Another question to Mr. Dwaratne. You show the slide. You built a light stand 120 meter height. I want to know when you established it, when you built the light stand 120 meter height. Another question is you show level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you show diploma, higher diploma. My question is higher diploma course. What is the qualification of entrance there? And another question is diploma course level 1 to 3, also higher diploma course level 1 to 3. This is not understanding.
The government has taken some initiative. I mentioned in my presentation, the government has taken initiative to send more skilled workers instead of sending the unskilled worker. If we send the skilled worker, then their rights and privileges, we can easily ensure their rights and privileges. Regarding the unskilled, yes, we are sending unskilled people. It is very difficult to ensure their rights and privilege, right and protection. But we have some arrangement for that. Then we enacted new law for the Overseas Employment and Migration Act. In this act, we will ensure their rights and protection. And we, in the mechanism, in the management mechanism, we have some reform. That is registration. We have the database for all the workers. We have the database. We can, if somebody has the problem, we can find out within a second even when he is going, what time he depart the country, where to he went, and all the information lies with us. Then we can locate it very easily. If any problem, then we can solve the problem easily because all the information we have. And another measures we have taken, before their departure, we introduced the pre-departure training for them. Without pre-departure training, we did not allow anybody to go abroad. Before that departure, they should know the host country's rules, regulations, and their contract, their salary, their terms and conditions. They know it before their departure. And another mechanism is that bilateral, we have developed some mechanism. Before that, facilities was not created before. Now, with the major manpower sending country, we can check the visa online. Our major movement in Saudi Arabia, then we can check the visa of the Saudi Arabia bound worker online. We have that has been bilaterally. We have made this arrangement. And we have also arranged with other countries. We can check the visa before the departure. And we have some special recruitment system with some of the countries. And it is online system that also protect the right and the protection of the workers. We have the Musara system with the Saudi Arabia, a special recruitment system. We have the G2G with the Malaysia and G2G plus with the Malaysia. It is online system. We introduced those systems for ensure the protection and rights of the workers. And the destination countries, we have taken some initiative. We made some reform and also our country as well. In this way, we are protecting the rights and protection of our workers. And Bangladesh government is committed for their protection and rights. And we are working on it, but even then, there is a lot of scope to develop. And development, and you know, the development is a continuous process and long way to go. And I know the Nepalese also face the same problem. Yes. While I served in Bangladesh embassy Kuwait. At that time, there is no embassy, Nepal embassy in Kuwait. But there are some Nepalese in Kuwait. And they used to come to the Bangladesh embassy for some of with their problems. And we try to solve their problems. And that is how we solve the problem. And second question is the 3D.
I already answered.
Yeah. It is the dull, dirty and dangerous. If we send the unskilled worker, then they try to push them in this sector. That's why government has taken initiative to send more skilled workers. In 2015, we sent only 38% skilled worker. This time, this 2016, we have sent 42% skilled worker and 16% semi-skilled worker. And we try to get out of it. And number 3 question is a female worker. Yes, it is a challenge. But lot of improvement take place already, but long way to go. There is now the female worker, especially this housekeeping, there is a great development. Previously, those who are going for the housekeeping work, females, they paid for their job. Now the development is that they are not paying any single fund. They are going abroad without zero migration, without any cost. They did not pay any single penny. Moreover, the employer is giving service charge to the agent. And all the expenses, and including the passport, cost of the passport, borne by the employer. That is a revolutionary development. And we had the agreement with the Saudi Arabia and other countries. This is development. And now we are sending female workers with the 30 days very structured training. Every female worker, they will go for 30 days training. After the training, only they allowed to go. Now the complaint is less than previous, but there are some complaints. We are negotiating with the destination countries. That negotiation also, they have taken some of the measures also. They have online system, they have a hotline, and we have also hotline. And in my office, there is a dedicated cell for them. There are so many initiatives we have taken. But still, there are some complaints. Then we are trying to solve all these problems. But where there is a society, there is a country, there is a people, there is a problem. But we will try to solve our problem. And again, I will reiterate that government of Bangladesh is committed to protect their worker and ensure their right. Thank you very much.
So remember the question, right, was about moving between red qualifications and general higher ed qualifications. So I'll just give you an example of what we do at Melbourne Polytechnic. So I'm the head of School of Engineering, Design and Construction at Melbourne Polytechnic. So what we have is we actually offer vocational qualifications or TVET qualifications, as well as higher ed qualifications like bachelor degrees and associate degrees as well. So what is really important is the content of the qualifications. So we actually have pathways, what we call pathways. So if you completed a diploma of engineering or an advanced diploma of engineering, for example, you'll actually get sort of credit exemptions from the bachelor's degree. So we've actually got standardized pathways between the two. So we actually move quite seamlessly between the two. And really that speaks to the necessity of having a very strong AQF framework as well, so that you know where the levels sit and we can move between the two. So it's content and also whether there's the established pathways between the two.
Answer that he gave. In Sri Lanka, we do have two frameworks. One is for vocational, it's called NVQ, going up to level 7, and then we have SLQF. Right? They go up to level 10, both academic path and the vocational path. So during the presentation today at level 2, I think you saw the framework. So we have the going from one area to the other one. So what you have to do is you just acquire what is missing in that. Basically, if you are going on the academic line, if you want to become Cartesian, basically it's some extra mathematics plus theories. So that can be acquired and you can go in. But unfortunately, even right now, the courses and the qualifications are not properly evaluated and mapped. And that is there. That problem is there. Okay. Coming back to 3 questions. The lightning arrestor, I didn't understand it fully. The 120 meters is the height from the ground level to the top of the lightning arrestor, the total height. But you can Google it, you get the entire detail about all the stupas there. About that matrix, the 2-dimensional one, the reason for that using the certificate diploma and higher diploma is for the simple reason that we do have it in Sri Lanka because of the 2 ministries that are handling it. So we have a higher diploma which is at level 5 we have a diploma which is at level 6. You understand? Right? So the proposal that I want to put forward is, you forget about the diploma, the certificate or the higher diploma, whatever it is, you have a qualification number. So that number has a set content, a set outcome, a set number of assessments, competence to acquire, plus a certain allocated time period. So I think I answered your both questions together. That is just a sample that I was showing. Because within the 15 minutes we cannot give the entire data. Thank you. Now concluding remarks or what are friends from sessions here, Ashok Kumar Vishwas is the Director of Technical Education and Additional Secretary to the Government of Bangladesh.
Regarding self-migration presented by Mr. Reza, it is very important in our country context. What we observed as per his presentation, around 10 millions of people are working in 162 countries throughout the world in Bangladesh. Regarding the most important and critical question raised by one of the principle of our Bangladeshi principle, TVET principle, that is the protection of women workers in abroad. And I think Bangladesh government has taken a lot of initiatives for protection of women workers in abroad, which is rightly pointed out by Mr. Reza. Regarding qualification framework, it is an important for ensuring the parameters of the degree and the scaling of technical education sector. Suppose in Australia, the level 10, it is measured in level 10. In Bangladesh, it is level 6. But European qualification, it is level 8. For our country, the national, technical, vocational qualification framework, actually it is too tough to pronounce. That is where we are considering, instead of NTVET, we are thinking from our Bangladeshi government or from our end, instead of NTVET, if it is possible to make it Bangladeshi qualification framework, we are thinking like that in our country context. It is under process as under trial. Possibly yesterday, whenever the Honorable Prime Minister was opening the session, in the inaugural session, DG, CPLC, and also our President IDB, both of them are suggesting to make it Bangladeshi qualification framework, and we are thinking in that light. Both three of the presenters are present regarding qualification framework, Mr. Shahjahan, Dr. Shoshi and Mr. Dayaratne. They are rightly point out this very crucial and technical point of technical and vocational sector. I humbly thanks to all four presenters, those who are especially well reputed and expert in the specific field of technical vocational field in their respective countries and respective places. Mr. Reza, Dr. Shoshi, Mr. Dayaratne and Mr. Shahjahan. I especially thanks to all of them for their kind presentation and very resourceful presentation. Thank you very much.
And second, Mr. H.B. Dayaratne, Head of Operation SEI Campus, Lanka Private Limited, Sri Lanka. Now our session chair will be honored by guest, and guest will be delivered by MD Selim Reza, DC Bureau of Foreign Employment and Trade.